Ue tu wherai e whakatu wherai tō tātou hui te karaki anea. Ai te ngota matua tamatua i rua tapu. Āmene. E te atua ka arawa anei rāwa ponga e koropi konei ngui a koe i tēnei ai ai. E tuku whakamoimiti atu ana ke a koe mo ngā mea i ho mai koe i ngā rā ko huri a taino ki tēnei wā. E ino i atu ana mātou ke a koe ke a tuku mai e koe torangi māri e ki wainga nui a mātou. O mai hoki ke a mātou te kaha me te mārama i te rapu i te huarahi te ka hai haere mā mātou. Ke o tipa iai nata ke nui a mātou i tēnei po, a koe nei mātou ino i atu nei ke a koe. Rōri e tamatua tamatua i rua tapu i pērā noi te tīmatatanga, pērā noi nai nei a pērā tonu a ke āmene. Ke ora mai anō rā tātou, kei te haere tonu te mihi nui ki te atu te kaihanga, ko ia kei runga kei raro kei ngā taha e whae alahi ana, e mana ki ana i a tātou i te pō, i te au, i te pō. Nō reira kia whakatapu i aia i ngā wā katoa. Ana ka huri anō na whakaro kia rātau ko uehe atu ki te pō. Nā mate o tēnei tau, tērā marama, tērā wiki a taino ki ngā mate o tēnei rātonu. Ko tahi noho pēte kōrero mō rātau, a haere rā koutou haere moi mai rotu te moi ngaro o te ariki. Ana ka hoki mai ki a tātou e hui nei i tēnei pō. Tēnei te mihi nui ki a koutou e ngā kaitono. Ai, e noho mai ana, e tatari ana mō tō wā ki te kōrero. E mihi nui tēnei ki a koutou. Kare he nua ki nā kōrero. E mihi ana, e whakatau ana i a tātou. Kuri noa, kia ora mai anō rā tātou. Kia ora.
O, tuatahi e mihi ana ki a koe, Uncle Robert, i tu wherai tēnei hui o te tāwhare o te whakatōhia, no reira tēnā koe. E tautau koina ngā mihi kia rātou ko wehe atu, haere tako tō mai i roto te aroha tō tātou ariki. Taino ki a tātou ngā kanohi ora tēnā tātou, kia koutou ngā kaumātua, ngā Pākeke, ngā rangatahi, o te pōnei, tēnā koutou. Ka mihi hoki kia kōrua Nat, Gina, nā kōrua tēnei hui i whakatū, no reira tēnā kōrua. Whaino kia koutou ngā kaitono o te tāwhara o te whakatōhia, neira te mihi kia koutou katoa. Just again want to thank Uncle Robert for opening our hui and want to acknowledge all those who are online listening and to acknowledge both Nat and Gina for making this hui happen, and of course to our stars of the moment, our kaitono. Thank you all for taking up the challenge, the opportunity to represent our uri on our new establishment, or our new entity, Te Tāwhara o Te Whakatōhia. It's an exciting time, and we're really fortunate to have such quality candidates standing for our new trust. Ko Vaughan Payne aho, tētahi uri o Ngāi Tamahaua, Ngāti Rua, Chair of, or Establishment Trustee and Chair of our new entity Te Tāwhara o Te Whakatōhia, alongside Uncle Robert and other establishment trustees. As I said last night, our role as establishment trustees is temporary, it's limited. It only lasts until we have elected 16 interim trustees, and our interim trustees, the 16 comprise 12 hapu trustees, so 2 from each of our hapu, and 4 general trustees. And so hopefully people, our whānau, you are getting your voting papers in the mail. And so tonight's about providing you with the opportunity to put faces to the names that are listed on the voting papers, and really just get to appreciate and understand our candidates a bit better. In terms of the general seats, we have a maximum of 4 votes, and it's really important that people just vote for who they believe are the top 4, regardless of age. From the results, one of the 4 general seats will be a rangatahi, or at least one. And just want to note that there is an error in the voting papers. I understand that Hemi and Dwayne, I think maybe Dwayne, you identified as a rangatahi, and Hemi, in fact, is the rangatahi, but all that does is reinforce the importance of people just voting for who they believe are the top 4, irrespective of the age. And again, at least one of the 4 trustees will be a rangatahi anyway. So yeah, really excited that we've reached this milestone, and excited to have the quality of candidates in front of us. Last night we have 17 wonderful people standing in our general seats. We heard from 8 of our candidates last night, and we're hearing from the other 8 tonight. And want to acknowledge you, John, and your kōtiro, Susanna, who can't be with us tonight because she's spending time with her koro, with your father-in-law. So ka mihi kia koutou, o te whānau. The format tonight, whānau, is that each candidate will have a maximum of 7 minutes to speak, and as trustees, we've taken the opportunity to give every candidate the same 6 questions to support them in their kōrero, and Nat's going to share those 6 questions on the screen, and I'll just read through them. And these 6 questions really are based around issues, questions that came through whānau through Facebook and social media that people thought were important questions to ask our candidates. So the 6 questions, tuatahi, if you supported the settlement, can you tell us why? If you didn't support the settlement, can you similarly tell us why not? And why you have now chosen to stand for our settlement entity. Tātou tuarua, what do you believe are will be the most important attribute or quality as a trustee? Tuatoru, can you give an example of how you have demonstrated such an attribute in your other roles? Tuawha, what do you see as the main challenges facing whakatōhea over the next 3 years? And how will you approach those challenges as a trustee? Tuarima, as a candidate, you have agreed to Te Otitanga. Why is Te Otitanga important to Te Tāwhare o Te Whakatōhea? And can you give an example of how you will apply it to challenges around the board table? Tuono, settlement processes are divisive. What will you do to help unite our whānau, hapu, and our iwi so we can reach our collective potential? So again, whānau, those are 6 questions that we've posed to each candidate to answer at their will. So candidates will have 7 minutes, as I've said before. Last night I tried to indicate when there was 1 minute left by using a pūtātara, which I don't think anyone heard apart from me. And so tonight I will try ringing a bell. If you can't hear it, similarly, hopefully you'll see this little pere ka tangi te pere, to indicate that there's a minute left to go of the 7 minutes. And just lastly, want to acknowledge all of those who have helped us get to this point. Those who are no longer with us, as Uncle Robert acknowledged, but also to acknowledge our trust board, the Pre-Settlement Claims Trust, our whānau, our hapu, and the many individuals, whether they be whakatōhea or others who have helped us get to this point. And lastly, as a trust, we have a wawata ki rangatira ai ngā uri o te whakatōhea to revitalise, to build prosperity for te whakatōhea, and that's against the backdrop of our whānau, our hapu, our iwi being very prosperous prior to Raupatu, culturally, spiritually, socially and economically. So we have a great example of what our tipuna were able to achieve through unity, and something that we can strive to achieve as well. So that's a bit of a backdrop, whānau, for our wonderful candidates to share their whakaaro with us tonight. And our first wonderful candidate is Adriana. Pea koe, Adriana.
Mihi nui kia koutou. Mihi nui kia Matua Robert. Mo tō karakia. Me te mihi nui kia koe Vaughan. Mihi nui kia koutou katoa. Ko kutere pukurehe Ngāti Patu moana, Ngāti Muri mai o ku hapu, ko tiro whitu o ku maunga, tōku maunga, ko kākano, ko te kākaho te awa, ko kuterere te marae, ko muriwai, tōku tūpuna, ko whakatohea tōku iwi. Ko karauria eruera tōku pāpā, ko moira mokeke black tōku māma. Ko Adriana Everson. Kia ora koutou. Ko te tuatahi, I'd like to go straight to the questions and start working through them. And the first is, because this is going to explain really, I can see quite clearly my skills and attributes and my experience that I would have to offer to this position. If you supported the settlement, can you tell us why? Yes, I did support the settlement. I can't say I supported the settlement process all the way through. I certainly challenged issues that we were not satisfied with in the settlement. But at the end of the day, we were able to sit down and negotiate with the Pre-Settlement Trust and make amendments to the inclusion clause, because that we believed was quite pivotal to including everybody, especially our hapu Ngāti Muriwai, but also it made it possible to bring alongside all the hapu in the iwi concept. So through that process and that experience, we also learned that, and I also learned that, yes, we can shift, we can problem solve, we can critically analyse, and we can find solutions. And so that was the big stepping stone for us to say, well, this is a stepping stone. The settlement is a stepping stone to the next step. We didn't see the full and final as the end of it. We see it as the next step to rebuilding our iwi and, you know, starting to regenerate and regrow our economic base and our hapu and our tribe. The Pātai Tuarua, what do you believe will be the most important attribute as a trustee? I've been I've had years of experience working in this field, in the settlement process. When my father, Karodia Edwards, who was the principal claimant of Y87, passed away, I had to step in and take that position as claimant, because the claim couldn't progress without a living claimant. And so that experience, working with those kaumātua at that time, and then working through with the many groups today and where we are today, I learned a lot about the complexities of the hapu and the iwi. And I certainly learned that listening was better than speaking often, and hearing what the different members and the hapu members were saying. And it gave me a great insight in how, in our iwi and the things that we have to deal with moving forward. So many years working with the iwi, many years working at the grassroots, many years working in kaupapa Māori education, another view of looking in at our people, and those skills and that knowledge, I think, will be a good contribution to the collective of trustees moving forward, because as we say in Māoridom, we have to know the past to move forward in the future. And I can see that that's a really important attribute. Can you give an example of how I've demonstrated this? Well, one example, we've always been a believer in the iwi concept. The reason for that is that we see the iwi as working unitedly, coming together collectively. There's strength in numbers moving forward. But we also believe in hapuranga, and I also believe in hapuranga tiratanga, building the capacity and capability of our hapu. That's absolutely crucial, I think, for us to move forward as an iwi today. And so we fought for what we believe the rights of Ngāti Muriwai to be a part of the settlement. And it's been challenging. It's been a long road, but each step, and it's been a stepping stone, there's been a little bit of progress. Very quick. Thank you, Vaughan. So that means that my time's up now? Okay.
1 minute to go. Thanks, Adriana.
Okay, cool. So I'll have to hurry through this. So the major challenges moving forward is us coming together, setting up the new entity, and ensuring that all the issues that, it's clear there's still issues outstanding, being able to work through those, being able to problem solve, being strategic, how we deal with matters. And I see that as certainly not impossible. It's achievable to move forward. So that's definitely a challenge, but it's an exciting challenge, and it's an achievable one. Have you agreed? Ōtitanga. Yes, that's the commitment. This is how I understand that. Ōtitanga is the commitment to work together, to work for the better of the iwi. Absolutely. We've got strength in numbers. Our tupuna knew that, our ancestors knew that, and we have to see that, I think, and we will come to see that it's a strength, not a weakness. It doesn't undermine the rangatiratanga of the hapu, in my belief. It will strengthen that rangatiratanga.
Adriana?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, nei rata mihi kia koe, Adriana. Beautiful kōrero. And our next speaker is Nadine. Kia ora koe, Nadine.
Tēnā, tēnā koutou katoa. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, Uncle Robert Moto Karakia, mihi nui ki a koe Vaughan. Yeah, firstly, I just want to mihi to our trust board, to all those that have contributed to our pre-settlement mahi and the ongoing mahi, including protecting our assets. On a mihi to all the candidates who are standing for Te Tāwharau, their courage to put themselves forward. You know, I was given this tono and I really had to give it some deep thought and reflection. You know, the first thing for me was really about acknowledging our ahi ka back at home. You know, that's a tireless mahi for all of us. And, you know, I'm away from home. And so with that thought, I thought about those that have gone before me, that contributed to this mahi. I thought about my mum. You know, we lived at home next to my nanny Minnie and Koro Jim on Windsor Street until I was about 10. And then we moved to the Waikato so mum could gain her hauora tohu and then come back to serve e te iwi. So, ko waio, ko matiti te maunga, ko waiweka te awa, ko Ngāti Ira te hapu, ko Opiki te marae, ko Ngāti Grey tōku ingoa. Ko Janet Maloney moni tōku mama, ko Jim Watson dawa ko te minikato moni o kukou mātua, ko Renee Jones tōku mahanga, ko Ngāti Grey tōku ingoa. So yeah, all of this leads to my why I am standing. You know, my mahi is working in Hauora Māori as the Chief Nursing Officer for Te Ako Whaiora. My leadership is to serve. And in our first partai, I supported the settlement because I aspire to come home and to serve. My aspirations are for our people to thrive and flourish back home. You know, this is an opportunity that sets a direction for our oranga iwi. And I will change our economic realities, but more broadly, the oranga of hapu, oranga a reo, oranga a tikanga, oranga a whare, and oranga a whānau. So I think it's important to acknowledge the colonial impact that this settlement inherently causes our iwi, our hapu, and our whānau. And it's from this place that I supported the settlement to begin to heal from our grievances, but maintaining who we are unapologetically in our resilience. It unites us in our iwi. So my aspiration to stand for oranga a iwi won't be achieved by the settlement alone, but our collective voice of each other, our haputanga, and the strengths that exist in our iwi both today and tomorrow. So I want to contribute, to be accountable to my aspiration for oranga o te whakatōhia. My leadership in Pātai 2, my leadership and my governance experience is based on the attribute of integrity, to act honestly in the duty of all of you. That's really key for me, to leave ego at the door, because as a trustee, we must be able to challenge and to be challenged. So from my experience in government, I think we, as a trustee, we need to be able to self-reflect on our positions that we take, that we listen, and that we learn in our leadership, because each person that will be on this governance will have capabilities and contribute for all of us. I've experienced a board with conflict, and these attributes are really important. So for Pātai 3, I'll give you an example of how I can, you know, how I've kind of demonstrated that. And my current mahi is in Te Ako Whaiora and the Māori Health Authority. We work with iwi and hauora providers from across the motu. So my attributes in this space require my expertise, both to be an effective collaborator, and you know, there's politics across different iwi, but mostly to be a good listener and to find solutions in my mahi and to support the direction of travel for our iwi and hauora providers. So I take, you know, oititanga really seriously. I've had examples of being on a board where there was pretty major conflict while I was a trustee, and that conflict sat from a breach of the code of the conduct of that board. So when I think about the importance of this oath, I take responsibility. The trustee in the situation where there was conflict, you know, came to that board with their own competing interests and began to act independent of the collective. So my contribution in this space was supporting the chair and to help find resolution to keep the business and the function of the board moving forward. When I think about the challenges facing whakatōhia over the next 3 years, you know, I think the job of Te Tāwharau will be about building high trust and relationships across the uri of whakatōhia, the importance of being on the ground, understanding the needs of our hapu and our whānau, collectively working together for our iwi, to ensure that our strategies are focused on them. My experience in Hauora is the strengths that I'll bring in terms of being at the table and the breadth of the mahi that is ahead of us as we focus on the well-being to thrive and flourish in a really broad sense when I think about things like our hauora, our housing and our cost of living. And again, yeah, I think Nō Reira whānau, the job as a trustee is to unite our whānau, our hapu and our iwi to reach our collective potential. And, you know, we just really can't view the settlement as the end, but really it is the beginning, because there's so much to consider as a iwi, our haputanga and our healing as we move forward. So my commitment to this kaupapa is to stand within Te Tawharo o Te Whakatohea alongside all of you as the vehicle that will move us forward to reach our oranga as a whānau, as a hapu and as a iwi. Tēnā koutou katoa.
Nei rā te me kia koe, Nadine. Our next speaker is Bonnie. Tēnā koe whaia.
Tēnā koe, Vaughan. Ooh, bit nervous. Sorry. Just take a few breaths, get myself organised. Tēnā koutou. Katoa ngā uri o Whakatohea. Ko Bonnie Johnston a hau, ko Whakatohea te iwi, ko Upukarehe te hapu. Ko a hau te mokopuna, a paku rawa ko Pumari Wikotu, a hau te tamahine, a Betty rawa ko Jim Edwards. Kia ora koutou. I could tell you about my flash education qualifications and the knowledge and experience I gained in the years working in government, customs, IRD, but that wouldn't mean a lot to you right now. Me thinking, what can that grey, my whānau, my hapu and my iwi? Well, right now, I can do nothing. I'm here tonight to appeal to you for your votes as a trustee to Te Wharero or Te Whakatohea Trust for a general seat. You're probably wondering why I haven't chosen to stand for hapu. I believe these seats are the tangata kāinga. They are the ones who have kept the fires burning, serviced our marae, urupā lands and held the flags high while I've been off chasing my aspirations. So I'm now asking for your vote for a general seat where I can put my knowledge, experience and skills towards the future of the iwi. If I am fortunate enough to win your vote, I promise I will serve you, your tamariki, your whānau, hapu and iwi to the best of my abilities. I have 5 T principles by which I will serve you. The first one is trust. It is often assumed that when people are appointed to positions of power, they assume the trust of the people. This is not true for me. We have to earn your trust. We have to prove to you that we can be trusted to do the right thing for the right reasons. If we maintain the trust integrity with respect, confidentiality, professionalism and decision-making that you can openly witness, then maybe we can build our trust. I've been working for Ngā Ruahine Iwi South Taranaki as their registrar for the last 6 years. I receive uri information and prepare it for validation into the iwi and hapu. This position requires confidentiality, patience and support. Although I don't whakapapa to this iwi, I have built strong relationships with uri of Ngā Ruahine. They know that their information is safe. They know they can talk to me about their issues, and they know I won't discuss their issues outside or to others. My second T is togetherness. We are all jumping in the same waka, and we want to make sure we are paddling in the right direction to forge a unique future for ourselves, our iwi. A platform must be provided with which we can share our togetherness and put aside our individuality. We all have daru, but the trust must work together in a way that we respect the hapu individuality, but collectively work together as one. This is not going to be an easy move forward, as too many hurts have happened. It will take time. My third T is tolerance. We all have our own ideas on how to row the waka, but if we personalise some of the raru, we will row in different directions. The trust has to develop communication to uri in a way that our ideas become one. Transparency. This is the biggest problem in a lot of organisations, even government. If uri start to question the actions of the trust, it means that the trust has failed to provide a transparent process for uri to understand. I've seen a lot of reports come from Māori organisations, and at times I wonder where I fit into this process, or even what the process means. And finally, tautoko. No matter what the future holds for us individually, compared to awhi, show aroha, these are very high expectations, all to forge a unique pathway forward for a better future for ourselves, tamariki, whānau, hapu, and iwi. So in conclusion, ngā uri o whakatoia, we have to earn your trust, work together as one, put our hurts aside, tolerate our differences, make sure our picture is clear and transparent, tautoko one another for a better future for us all. Your vote for a general seat is what I'm asking for and appealing for. Ngā mihi, Bonnie Johnstone. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe, Bonnie. Ka nui te mihi ki a koe. Our next speaker, tēnā koe, Paia Georgina.
Tēnā koe, Vaughan. Tēnā tātou te iwi whānui o te whakatohea. Ko Georgina Papuni aho, tētahi o ngā mokopuna Raimona Papuni no Ngāti Rua. Greetings to all of Whakatohea in New Zealand and overseas. My name is Georgina Papuni, one of the mokopuna, one of the grandchildren of Raimona Papuni from Ngāti Rua Hapu. Papa Raimona was one of the founding members of Whakatohea. He was there at the installation of Tutamare at Omaramutu Marae. I was only young when he died. He died 66 years ago. Very much alive in my mind still. But his dream for Raupatu settlement didn't die with him. Why do I do this? Why am I wanting settlement? I found solace with my tipuna, and we'll go together. I don't have to explain anymore why I'm here saying I want settlement. When we move ahead, we carry all sorts of burdens with us, but I believe this is divine timing. This is the best time in my life. This is the only time in my life when I'm going to fulfill his dream and mine. It is now. E te iwi. It's time to move forward with our settlement. And what will be that cloak I will take with me should I serve you? What will be that attribute? What will be that quality? It is integrity. It's the most vital asset of a trustee. In Māori terminology, I call it a nāko pono. We understand what pono means. It means one can make decisions and take action based on moral principles. That word pono, touchy one. Always keeping the people one serves at the forefront of everything you do. Nako pono fosters trust and shows a genuine care for the well-being of our iwi. Oh, just let me take a moment to acknowledge our kaumatua who may be listening in. And these kaumatua may be Māori or non-Māori, listening as recorded or about matters of justice, healing, reconciliation, as we move towards a more equitable society. They too know the fire that burns in one's belly. Tēnā tātou, kuia mā, koro mā. Now back to my question 3. How did I implement integrity in my mahi? In my profile you read, I worked for 10 years in the Pacific as a teacher and as a department head of English in a language, in a school where second language was English. I aligned several strategies that focused on taking the staff along with me as well as the students. Simple one, monitoring workbooks every week, Friday on my desk, 3 o'clock. I stayed. Oh, they opened them up so I didn't have to look for their messy work. Open it up and I'd go through what was there for the next week. When I was satisfied, I put a signature on it and a date. Come Monday morning, each teacher had to countersign my signature. That was their commitment. That's how I got interaction. That's how I made things move. Simple but effective. Of course, when I came to be critiqued by my superior, my Australian principal, ta-da, there it was. And another thing I'll point out that I use integrity on, it was a real beauty. About 2 weeks before the external exam that was set by my students, I do a mock 3-hour paper. They came on Saturday. They did the exam paper, which I had drawn up out of old papers. And the only thing they could do was ask me what the question meant. Otherwise, I ran it just like an exam because I didn't want them not understanding what the question was and giving me an entire book. I then assured them that the mark that I gave them when I marked it would be 5 marks either side of the mark, either side. I gave them the confidence. They believed it. And when their marks came out, when they set the exams which were marked in New Zealand, all smiles. So those were a couple of things that where I implemented integrity. And my sense of integrity comes from my nako pono. Moving on from that, we'll go to the challenges that face whakatōhea. I think we're pretty much in agreement that the hardest thing we've got ahead of us is unity. Unity, uniting us as an iwi. Call it whakatōhetanga, call it kotahitanga. It's there for an effective governance and decision making, because if you don't have it, you can't make decisions within the trust. And if you have it, you can implement clear, transparent prioritization processes. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful. As you know, we've always seen it before. But what it means is you must put in order your house before you start divvying out promises, whether they be physical assets or money. You must put it in order. By implementing these kind of structures, these goals, these objectives, you're doing the iwi a favor. But what you need to do on top of that is communicate with them and let them know, ask them if they understand what you are actually doing. The other part of that trust is managing a significant amount of money and assets. And sometimes that will require expertise and stewardship. You have to seek fiscal and financial guidance. Now, fiscal, for those listening, and that just means government stuff, maybe tax, fiscal and financial governance, guidance.
Kia ora whaia kōti te wā.
What's kōti te wā?
Time's up, but
Oh,
I just want to just wrap up. I feel really aroha doing
Kapai.
this.
So taking the oath for me is a powerful symbol of dedication, showing commitment to the trust, to its values, and to our people. And the last thing, uniting our iwi after settlement is not impossible. You'll have to seek common ground on issues. You may wear a raupatu scar. Your neighbor might wear a bleeding wound. Koro down the road might have a festering boil. Somehow you have to work together to heal it. I wish you all success, but I know that's not possible. And the trustees who will be chosen in a few days, tread carefully with our mokopuna.
Nā koe whaia, mai rata mi, aroha ki a koe. Our next kai kōrero, Marcel, tēnā koe Marcel.
Ka hika I taku a hiki mihi ai te iwi te ara o te tikanga I pai ai te noho I te ao nei. Tēnei te tirahau, tēnei haramai nei, tohe ake nei, te aroha I ahau, ko te whakatohea. Tuatahi ake e tō waiti ana ngā mihi ki ngā mate, ki ngā mate o te wā kāinga, Nene Gurley, Uncle Pare, Nira, Nelly, Dawn, koutou mai noho pani ana, e aroha atu ana. Tēnā koutou. Hoi anō ko te taipō, ki te taipō, te tai awatea ki te tai awatea ki a tātou. E whakakotahi nei tēnei pō, tēnā koutou kei ngā uri o te whakatohea. Hihi ana I te mihi kia koe e koe, kia koe Georgina, I te ahuareka o te kōrero, me taku whakamiharo kia koe, me taku rongo I tō kai kawe, ko te rangi Māori e tērā e mihi anau kia koe e koe. Hoi anō, ko ai ahau, ko māsa pio tō kuengoa, he uri ahau no ngā tira, no ngā tingahere, no ngā ita mahaua, I whānau mai au I Opotiki, I tipu mai au I Opotiki, ka mate au I Opotiki. I taku taha māma, ko Marjorie Clay, rāua ko Matt Kurei o ku kaumātua, engari te pāpā, ake o taku māma, ko Jimmy Martin tērā, he uri heke mai I a mokomoko rāua ko Kimohia, tatu rawa mai ki taku kuia I a he maima, mātinga oki oki tau rawa mai ki a hau. I taku taha pāpā, he mokopuna hau nā John Pio rāua, ko Netiani Kingi, no te whakatohea hau no ngai te rangi no tūhoi e mihi anau kia tātou. Kia ora tātou, my name is Marcel Pio. I was born, raised and educated in Opotiki. I went to Te Rere Kohanga Reo, I noho au I raro I te ahuritanga o Nēniranga, then went on to Opotiki College, then on further to Victoria University, and then finally to the Australian New Zealand Institute of Insurance and Finance. I am a current board member on the board of Te Whakatohea, a current director on the Whakatohea Fisheries Assets Holding Company, a senior strategic advisor at Te Mātāwai, which was born out of the Māori Language Act, and my mahi focuses on giving effect to the Māori and Crown relationship that was established for the purposes of Māori language revitalisation. I'm also a certified senior associate at the Australia and New Zealand Institute of Insurance and Finance, and my studies there are focused around the conduct surrounding financial products and the development of those products. mihi ana kia kauta kia tātou me tēnei kaupapa whakahirahira o tātou. Ka kotahi atu au ki ngā pātai. If I supported the settlement, can I say why? I did support settlement. My 6 grandparents, I say 6 because toko rua, rāua I mate whaimua I taku whānautanga mai, no te whakatohea. All of my grandparents exist on both sides of the settlement kaupapa, and they've not been passive in their involvement on both sides of this kaupapa. I've sat with my nan, with my mum as they've presented evidence at the High Court, worked with my uncle on the historical account for the Whakatohea settlement. I emceed the signing of the deed of settlement, and I choose to settle because I choose to move forward, and I hope that my tamariki will never experience some of the things I've experienced. Tēnei mea, te pīkaunga taumaha ma mairo a mitinga kore, he pono I rā kōrero, kua rangona tērā āhuatanga. No reira, koia I tū ai au, koia kei te kawe pēnei ahau I tēnei kaupapa, I ahau anō hoki. I choose to move forward, and that is why I support settlement. Secondly, what do I believe is the most important attribute a trustee must possess? Relationship management. The ability to manage at the whānau, hapu, iwi level, and local government and central government and Māori Crown spaces and in international spaces. That's also one of my greatest strengths. I'm in Brisbane at the moment, and I'm just going to plug this here. If anyone's heard of the bilingual signs kaupapa, I'm the policy and strategy lead on that kaupapa, and we succeeded in getting our signs on our roads, our kura school signs legislated through the Māori, through the Land Transport Act. And yesterday we won the Indigenous category at the IAP2 Australasian Awards. And in terms of how I demonstrated relationship management in that particular kaupapa, my role facilitates the management of I'm a conduit between the 109 iwi we represent in the Māori Language Act and our Crown partners. So this kaupapa has been celebrated because iwi and Māori were engaged before everyone else was when these signs were being developed, and that's consistent with the fact that no tātou te reo Māori. And that's a new thing, and it's been looked at as the blueprint for partnership moving forward. And it's something I'm extremely proud of. The third question. Sorry, I can't see any of the slides here, but what are 3 challenges that I think confront us as an iwi, and that the trustees will be a part of having to resolve? I think at an iwi level, it's been talked about tonight, healing the hearts and minds of our people following what has been and continues to be a divisive process. I think that's a challenge of ours. Regionally, there's a wave, or there has been for a while, of development going through Opotiki, and that's exciting. And it's exciting if we end up in the leadership spaces, and if we land those opportunities that we speak about. But I think the challenge will be for Whakatohea will be to protect what we have and to make sure that once those development opportunities are stood up and those jobs are established as well, one, our people will be in those seats, but also they'll be leading those spaces. And nationally...
myself.
Oh, tēnā koe. Well, aku kupu whakamutinga kia tātou mea ana te kōrero kia mau ki te kotahitanga o te whakatohea. That particular statement actually came out of a growling that was fussed at me in front of everyone. I was embarrassed. I wanted to cry, but I had to get over myself. And because the kaupapa is bigger than I am, that's the type of leadership I offer. And I think over the years we'll remind ourselves of that this kaupapa, but that exists, is bigger than us, and that's the type of leadership I offer. So mihi ana e ki ngā kōrero kua horaina ki runga ki te takapai wānanga o tēnei hui, o te rā koutou mātaki mai ana, e mihi ana tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā koe, Marcel. Pai ana te whakarongo ki a koe. Our next speaker is Hone. Tēnā koe, Hone.
Kia ora tātou. Tuatahi, kai ta mihi tēnei ki a koe e te pāpā ko Robert. Nā te mea nau iha nā te ara whata ki te runa rawa. Kia nā wari ai tā tātou nei kōrero tahi maruna hui topa i tēnei po. Tō reira kāre mutu nā mihi tēnei ki a koe e te pāpā ko Robert. O tira ki a koe hoki Vaughan, nā kai whakarite tēnei hui topa e te whārangi puka mata mo te iwi i tēnei po. Nui ake nā mihi. Tēnā tātou. Ko mā keo te maunga. Ko waiawa te awa. Ko waiawa te marae. Ko rua moko te whare tīpuna. Ko te puritanga te tari o te ora. Ko Ngāti Patu Moana, ko Ngāti Ngāhere Oku Hapū. Ko te whakatohe te iwi. Ko Jonathan Hone te rire tōku ingoa. He moko puna tuarua ahau o Paki Withers, rawa ko mihi tāna tairua. He moko puna ahau o Sid Waterton, rawa ko Nanny Isabella Daisy Withers. Ko Elizabeth Chinny Waterton, tōku māma. Nōreira, nei anō, te mihi tēnei ki a koutou, he aku ranatira. Tūranga tira ai mo tēnei kaupapa, mo te tāwharau, o te whakatohea, o tira, o te whakatohea i tēnei wā. I'll be led by the question, so I'll cut straight to the chase here, Homa. I supported the settlement in its entirety because I could see that the settlement was a waharo, using the analogy of a marae. It was the waharo, the entranceway to our future, a new beginning. The marae Aotea is a gathering place for hapu, for whānau hapu and iwi, and the aspirations of hope of the people. Tēnei te tira hau, tēnei haramai nei. The new beginnings for our future. Koia tērā. Kei te tautoko tūturu mārika hau tēnei kaupapa tāhua o tātou te iwi o te whakatohea. An attribute I feel is important for those who stand to serve their people. Some of us have already mentioned that. Kei te mihi tēnei ki a koutou, nā kai kōrero ki mua i ahu. And that is the art of listening, the art of whakarongo. To be a good, authentic listener. Te art of whakarongo, mā tērā ka mārama. That we listen to understand, we don't listen to respond. That we use our nākau pono in many, many ways. Not only to open up our heart, but to open up our minds, but also to open up our ears to listen to our people, to listen for their guidance. Sometimes I use the analogy of that. I use my eyes to listen and my ears to see. Koe nā whakaro o tēnei kaupapa, the art of listening. So an example I use with that attribute, currently I chair an iwi customary fisheries forum, mai ngā kuria whare ki Chihira. An honourable and a humble position, for me at least. And the forum, mai ngā kuria whare ki Chihira iwi customary fisheries forum, is made up of around 21 plus iwi e homa. Mai ngā kuria whare ki Chihira, on Tauranga Moana, all the way through to the eastern shores of Ngāi, the eastern boundaries. Ki tai, ki uta. And so the art of listening, the art of whakarongo, ensures that the collective voices of this forum are heard, are understood, and respected accordingly. Mā tērā, ka kōkiri whakamua, tātou katoa. E runga I taro hano, me ta rangi Māori e tātou ki a tātou. Some of the main challenges facing our iwi over the next 3 years, I'll use this thing called transformation. We're coming out of a mode, a lifestyle that has been enforced on top of us for the last 183 years, 180 odd years, or longer or less. And so to transform out of that is a big, huge challenge. So one of the ways of approaching that transformation is to strengthen our pātu wata, to strengthen the well-being of our marae, to make them places that invite our future, our rangatahi, back to our marae. That is important. O ranga whenua, o ranga tanata, o ranga marae, o ranga hapu, o ranga whānau, o ranga te iwi. Strengthening our pātu wata. Who having wānanga, who having hui Māori, to strengthening our paipai, to strengthening our leadership mo te apōpō. Another one is growing our whakatoheatanga. Pūtere o Māori. And we have people on here that have those qualities and attributes and doing the mahi as we speak, carrying that kaupapa forward. Te reo Māori. I was honoured and humbled to belong to the kapahako of the whakatohea back in the day. Nā mihi tēnei ki taku whanau ngā dūdū for inviting me, to encouraging me. And I think bending my hand backwards, say, hey, hoki mai. I was at Waikato University at the time, and I loved it. O pōtiki mai tāwhiti. Kia ora, Vaughan. So increasing our oranga tonutanga, that's been mentioned, and building our capability and capacity so that our people become the future leaders of tomorrow in whatever space. Te ōtitanga e hoa mai, for me, is important because it oozes with te tāwhanautanga and te kotahitanga. Te tika me te pono, tērā authenticity. It's about allegiance and respect and working collectively in a rangatira way for our iwi o te whakatohea. Te ōtitanga trustees are compelled to mahitahi, think and act as a single cohesive body. Examples, respect all views, listening to understand, acting faithfully, impartially, and in the best interest of the whakatohea takato. Tā wharautea o te whakatohea. Yes, the settlement is divisive because it's all about change. And that is one of the things that I talked about, a challenge. He waka eke noa, we're all in this together. Nobody will be left behind. It's about the heartbeat of the iwi, o na mata, ina mata, ana mata. We must be mokopuna focused. We must be mokopuna centric in our thinking because they are the ones that are going to carry us into the future. Nō reira, kia koutou e homa, e tūki mo tēnei kaupapa, kia kaha koutou, o tira kia kaha tātou. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Thanks, mihi, kia koe hone, nei rata mihi. Our next speaker is Dwayne. Tēnā koe, Dwayne. Dwayne, I'm not sure we can hear you.
What about now? No, sorry, everyone. Tēnā koe Vaughan. Kia ora e te whānau, ko Dwayne Tremba tōku ingoa. Before I start, I just wanted to give a couple of disclosures. So I'm 52% of my way through a te reo course. So my leo may not be perfect, but my intentions are still good. I'm on my own journey and I'm bringing my whānau with me. And Vaughan already mentioned it at the start, but there was an error in the candidate profile booklet. I look quite youthful in this light, but I'm not a rangatahi candidate. And I believe it's been corrected online. I wanted to start out by saying, ka mau te wehi, what an incredible talent amongst the candidates that we've heard over the last two nights. Whakatohea is really privileged to have so much great talent. Tēnā koe. For me, I have no personal agenda. All I want is what's best for Whakatōhea, for our people, culturally, economically, spiritually. There's been some incredible mahi to get to where we are today, but we are still at the beginning of the journey in restoring our iwi to prosperity. My view is that as a trust board, we need to have solid, robust, sustainable investments so that our iwi can benefit both today and our mokopuna can benefit in the future. To do this, the trust board needs trustees with a broad and diverse set of skills. And my contribution to that table would be my 20 plus years experience in commercial, financial, and business leadership positions. So the first question, do I support the settlement? Yes, I do. My grandma used to tell me stories of growing up in Opotiki in 1940s and 1950s. I think she might have gone to school with you, Uncle Robert. She told some really good stories, but she also told some very challenging stories, challenging life experiences that she had. And in a very different but a similar way, some of those challenges still exist today. Housing, healthcare, both physically and mental healthcare, a disconnection from our culture, and the support that we need for our tamariki. And talking to other iwi representatives who are further along the settlement journey, they have been able to really leverage their assets and their investments to benefit the tangata whenua. They have done this by building diversified investments, which have provided really strong returns. To Pātairoa, what do you believe is the most important attribute of a trustee? I believe a strong level of commitment and integrity. And by integrity, I mean honouring your word and committing to what you say you will do. I believe good trustees have good emotional intelligence, having the ability to monitor both my own and others' emotions and how we respond to them appropriately. And linked to this, and I think Hone mentioned it really well, eloquently, is around listening, being able to have an open mind to other people's perspectives. I think the next thing that's really important is working on how we can get unity and togetherness, because we're stronger together. And from more of a finance skill set, bringing a strong understanding of what risks we have and what opportunities there are that we can exploit in the future. It's a really exciting time. And I guess also really important just being able to differentiate between what the board's role is and of governance and what the management role is. My role, my everyday work is I'm a CFO. It means I work really closely with what I consider to be a really high caliber board. So I know what an effective, good board looks like and how we can make really good decisions that benefit our people and our organisation. What I can bring to the trust is solid, real-world governance experience and my financial skills. I see the role of monitoring and advising on investment decisions as being really important, that there is appropriate due diligence done in every decision, and ensuring that the trust investments provide returns that set the iwi up for the long-term financial sustainability. I'll bring a fact-based approach to decision-making. What do I see as the main challenges for Whakatōhea over the next 3 years? There are many challenges. The two that really stand out for me, and please, I don't underestimate the importance of having a strong, robust, comprehensive strategy. But a piece of paper is nothing if it can't be executed. The harder part is the execution. And my contribution would be to execute on a strategy with proper due diligence and going in it with everyone having eyes wide open of the risks and opportunities that it would bring. And the second challenge, it's been covered by almost every candidate, is unity, fostering unity and making sure that everyone is in the same waka, that the board takes everyone on the journey to prosperity. Like I said about the oath, I have no personal agenda. All I want is what's best for Whakatōhea. I don't underestimate the importance of a board role, ultimate accountability to making sure we deliver positive outcomes. I'm a chartered accountant, so I'm also bound by a code of conduct and a code of ethics. And lastly, what do you think is important to unite whānau, hapu, and iwi? The importance of listening, to understand, and being a strong, open, and transparent communicator. Kia ora whānau, thank you. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Back to you, Vaughan.
Koe Dwayne, kanu te me kia koe. And our final speaker tonight, and certainly not least, is John. Tēnā koe, John. Still on mute, I think, John. Maybe Nat, we can unmute John remotely.
Kia ora everyone. Ko tira whitu te maunga, ko kakahota awa, ko te whakatoia te iwi, te upukarehe te hapu, ko kuterere te marae, ko hone te ware kolia, te karawa, ko Winnie Pucci Biddle, te kuia, ko John Williams toko ingoa. Nā me nui, Uncle Robert for karakia. Also like to acknowledge our tipuna and those who have passed, who fought long and hard to make this process possible, and all those who have kept battling the system. It must have seemed like a movable mountain at times. Vaughan, for your chairmanship tonight, ngā mihi. To my fellow candidates, and it's been said before, ka mautuahi for upholding the mana of your tipuna. They would be very proud of you, especially our rangatahi. Whoever's privileged to be voted to the board, we can rest assured that the whakatohea will be in good hands along the side of all the other hapu representatives. In any kaupapa, you need a vision, a goal to strive for, a destination to set your compass to. Like our old people, our tupuna, which is why we're here and how they arrived here. So when we read history about how Te Whakatoia was prosperous, it was thriving iwi, an iwi that owned its own ships, it had huge gardens and people had fulfilling work, and we're all housed, and our rohe was seen as the food basket of Aotearoa, their produce being supplied across the country. So I have a vision that Te Tāwharo set its compass for the same destination, that there should be no more people sleeping rough, that there is affordable housing, food enough to keep us healthy, maybe a hospital, once again like we had a long time ago in the Pōtiki, good education and training that helps our young people to thrive and be empowered to set their own goals for the future, and for the whānau who live afar, who support the whakatoia, but also that they can benefit from this settlement as well. And hopefully for that whānau that live afar, that we can attract them back to the rohi, back to Te Whakatoia, and be home once more. Obviously, to do that, we need good processes. We need good vision. We need good procedures. We need good governance. that not only for the next 3 years, but also for the years to come. So for the trustees at the moment is to set up that that foundation for our mokopuna and for the people coming after us. 100% support the settlement. Why? Well, our whānau did. So the Collier whānau, my grandfather, Tohone Te Ware Collier, and Unipuchi Nibiru, and all of our whānau, they worked for Te Whakatohea. So, you know, I see it as a way forward. It also presented an official apology from the Crown, and for them to acknowledge the atrocities that had been committed against the Whakatohea at the Raupati. That apology has allowed some of the maimai that has been carried from generation to heal. It acknowledges the mana of our tūpuna. Is it enough in financial terms? No. But financially, it is a stepping stone to rebuild what was a prosperous, thriving iwi. Now, that wero has been laid firmly at the feet of the Te Tāwhero trustees. The question is, whānau, who do you want to pick it up? I believe the people who would be able to face that challenge would need to be open-minded, able to listen, not judging differing views, but also be able to firmly, with humility, offer their own views as a leader in this process. I also believe the values are set out by Te Whakatohea, rangatiratanga, so taking ownership, whanaungatanga, relationship builder, not a relationship demolisher. Mata whānui, to be able to see the bigger picture, that we're only a small cog in a big machine. And obviously the people matter. E tangata, e tangata, e tangata. It's all about the people. And lastly, kaitiakatanga, be guardians of our rohe. Now Marae should be a safe place to be able to come back to welcome home those people who have left. A place for people to reconnect, to understand their whakapapa, which enables a sense of belonging, of being grounded, and instills mana for each and every one of us. What experience do I draw from? I have had the privilege of working in the same place as Marsh, so renovations at our marae. My main mahi is in the large corporate space where I'm a consultant, advisor, process procedure writer, and also in the education space as an assessor and a tutor. I've been in business for myself for over 30 years. The challenge for Te Whakatohea, which aligns with Te Otitanga, will be to find stability amongst our hapu, our people, so we can be united and continue to move forward together. Obviously, we are weaker if we are divided. It will take patience, humility, and the ability to find common ground in order for us to build trust. For me, this will be the priority for me to look to. I did not go to university. I don't have any letters after my name. My learnings are from experience and the School of Hard Knocks. I am not a politician, and I'm not going to promise the earth. Because from my experience, words are cheap. What I promise is you will get my 100% commitment to represent you to the best of my ability as one of your trustees on the board of Te Tāwhero if I am voted in. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou koto.
Tēnā koe, John. A wonderful conclusion to our evening, our beautiful speakers. I certainly feel humbled by what I've heard tonight, what I've seen tonight in terms of the talent that we have in front of us. In fact, both nights, feel very humbled, inspired by the values, the principles that people believe in, and most of all confident that no matter who is elected, we're in good hands as uri o te whakatōhea. But I think most of all, it's been a great opportunity the last couple of nights to hear about how we're all related, hearing those old names that people have mentioned that we can all relate to, and so whanaungatanga and continuing our journey around kotahitanga has been beautiful. So yeah, really just to thank you again for accepting a nomination to stand for Te Tāwhara o Te Whakatōhea. Thank you for preparing for tonight. I know that you've put a lot of thought into your kōrero, and really to help our uri make an informed vote, and that's really what it's all about. Is we want informed voting, decision making, and to show off the skills that we have amongst our people. So it's been awesome. Thank you also for helping me with my timekeeping. I felt quite whakamā at times, ringing that little bell. So thank you for that support. And I'll hand back over to Uncle Robert to close. Tēnā koe, Uncle. I think you're still on mute, Uncle.
You're on mute, Koro.
Aye, yeah. Kia ora tātou. Yes, we've got a quality lot of candidates before us, and it'll be a difficult decision for the people to make. However, I wish you all the best, each and every one of you, and whoever gets in, I am sure everybody's in the same line. They're looking for the best for whakatōhea, looking to the future, and I have great confidence in whoever gets in. No reira, kia ora tātou. Mā koe kati tō tātou hui tēnei wā. Ai te ngota matua, tamato e rua tapu, amen. E te atua ka harawa ko hoki mai anō mātou ki mo i a koe. Ko ti pai tēnei hui wangani i a mātou i tēnei pō. A whakoa te tuharahi mo i a mātou e hoki ana tēnā ki tōna kāinga, ai tēnā pi tōna kāinga. E te atua ka harawa te akina mātou, manaki a mātou i tēnei pō, i tēnei rā, a i ngā rā kai mo i a mātou. Koe nei mātou i noi atu nei ki a koe. E o mātua na mātou ki a koe te whae a tapu o te atua hei piringa mō mātou. Kau e whakakino mai ki o mātou i noi o mātou mate. Engari whakaorengi a mātou i ngā mea whakamataku katoa. E te takakau i whakakorori e tea. Ai whakapangia. I ro te tingo te matua te tama te wairua tapu. Amen. Kia ora whānau. Yeah.
Ko Maria.
Yeah. Very inspiring.